Ooh, that got loud there for a minute. Hey, what's going on? Welcome, 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 everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is Ed Reiner with your daily dose of mind stuff. It is day 26 for the daily dose of mind stuff. And today, Bob is going to be going in a little bit deeper on paradigms and the mind. And this is a great, great lesson on getting deeper into the mind paradigms, what the paradigms are, and how they're controlling our behavior, which ultimately are producing the results that we get in life. Now, something a little weird with the software that I'm using. So, if when I'm sharing the screen, it's a little bit low, just crank up the volume. Trying to figure that out, see if there's a way that I can bump up that volume, but I haven't figured it out yet. Doesn't mean that I can't do it. Might have to go in and try to mess with the audios on the videos themselves. But without further ado, let's go to Bob and let's get into this lesson. So, like I said, crank up the volume if you need to.
Now look at what we want to do is look at the mind and paradigms. Now, I know some of you have been through this many times. You cannot go through this too often. You really can't. Because the more often you go through it, the clearer you get the picture. If I look at you, if I'm sitting down talking to you, you become the picture of the stick person in my mind. Here, let's do it. Look at the mind, look at your mind and the paradigm. Now, Truman Fleet was a chiropractor in San Antonio, Texas. He was involved in the healing arts, and he was very involved in holistic health. And he really believed we were on the wrong track. He said, we're forever treating symptoms. We don't treat the cause of the problem. When you're working with spirit, you're working from a higher to a lower potential. It starts in the mind, manifests in the body. So if there's a problem in the body, it had to originate in the mind. Now he said, our problem is no one's ever seen the mind. How do you work with the mind? No one had ever figured that one out. So he said, I'm going to draw a picture of the mind, and that's the picture he drew. Now, if I'm sitting talking to you, I guarantee you that's the picture I've got. I don't care what color your hair is or what you're wearing. That is the image. I see your head as the big circle, and I've divided it into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. Then the body is the instrument of the mind. Now, do you see, if I study you and I can watch your behavior, I will know what's going on in your mind. Because your body is the instrument of the mind. And if you have a problem in your outside world, the problem's in here. It's never another person. It's never anything else. It's always ourself. Ray Stanford, that gave me the book and was the first mentor I had, he taught me a lesson that is so valuable. And he kept saying it. Bob, you're the only problem you'll ever have, and you're the only solution. Now, when he first told me that, I thought that doesn't even make any sense, but I couldn't tell him. I didn't want to make him feel bad. You see? He nailed it. You're the only problem you'll ever have, and you're the only solution. Now, we've got to think about this. That drawing is the most valuable idea I have ever learned. And keep in mind, I've studied a lot of different books, a lot of different programs. That is phenomenal. It is absolutely incredible. Because if I'm talking to you, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. You don't listen with your ears, you listen with your emotion. You hear with your ears. There's a big difference. You could hear what I'm saying, not be listening to me at all. You could hear what I'm saying, you could be listening and thinking about something far away. You want to get the person listening to you. In other words, you want the idea to go to their subconscious mind, not just in their conscious mind. You got to get it right into their innate mind. So the more you understand the mind, the better off you're going to be. So let's look at it here for a moment. There we are, conscious, subconscious, and body. Now, the conscious mind is your thinking mind, not the subconscious. The conscious mind is the thinking mind. That's where your higher faculties are. And that's what you think with. The conscious mind is the educated mind. That's where we gather all kinds of information. That's where our intellect is resonant. The perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, intuition. They're all in the conscious mind. We can become consciously aware of how to utilize them, how to develop them, how to become very powerful with them. But we must learn how. Most people don't even know they have them. Well, they've heard the word perception and imagination and that, but they've never really studied how to make it happen. Now, the subconscious mind is your emotional mind. It operates totally different than the conscious mind. Now, the conscious mind, we say, is the thinking mind. That's the part of you that can choose. And you do have a choice. You have a choice. When you say, she upset me, no, you upset you. You let something she said go into your subconscious mind. She didn't upset you. She cannot upset you without your permission. Now, that's a big, big hurdle for some people because we've been raised to believe that the other person was the cause of the problem. What I tell you about hanging around with those kids? And their parents are saying the same thing about you. Because you can choose, you have the ability to accept or reject. When you're sitting listening to the news, if you ever do that, you don't have to accept what they're telling you. You can reject everything. They say this is going to happen. Not in my world, it isn't. It's going to be a recession. I'm not going to participate. Now look, that part of you has the ability to originate. If you can accept or reject, you can originate. This is where the power is flowing into our consciousness, and we can build anything out of it we want. God, we can become so powerful with this. Now, the subconscious, when you build an idea in the conscious mind and plant it on the subconscious mind has no ability to reject it. It must accept it, and get this, it cannot differentiate between something that's real or something that's imagined. You can just imagine something, your subconscious mind will take it as real and start to move it into form. You imagine something bad happening, guarantee your body moves into a negative vibration to start to break down. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. Whatever's being planted in the subconscious mind controls the vibratory rate of the massive energy we call our body. We've got the ability to choose what goes in there. But the subconscious mind has no ability to reject. It's like the earth. It's immoral. It doesn't care what you plant, but it'll accept what you plant and grow it. Now, most people are planting what they don't want. They keep getting emotionally involved with what they don't want. They're having problems. They're in debt. What do they consciously think about? What are they emotionally involved with? The very thing they don't want. So here we are here. We'll say this represents us today. And today, there's all kinds of information just pouring into our conscious mind. It's the radio, other people, the TV, and it's pouring into our conscious mind. Now, because you do have an intellectual factor called reason, that's what gives you the ability to make a choice. You can say, no, I don't want to accept that. I don't believe it. Get out of here. And you just tell it to go away. You know what our problem is? We don't do that. Problem is most people don't think, and so their mind is left wide open, and it goes right into their subconscious. So what we say, the subconscious has no ability to reject. So whatever's going on around you, if your subconscious mind's wide open, it'll go right in there. That's why you should be mixing with people that really know how to make it happen. I was reading something out at lunch. I'm going to get Gina. Gina, is Gina in the room?
No, she's not.
Well, if you can get the message to her, I text this to her if she could have it printed. Give everybody a copy. Here it is. Surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers and the believers and the thinkers. But most of all, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it in yourself. Let me read that again. Surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the believers and the thinkers. But most of all, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it in yourself. We'll print that out and give it to everybody. It's a powerful piece of information. Now, this is the way most people go through life. Earl Nightingale pointed out, he said, if the average person said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. I'm inclined to agree with him. Ken McFarland put it another way. He said 2% of the people think, 3% think they think. He said 95% would actually rather die than think. Ford said thinking is the hardest work there is, which is a probable reason so few people engage in it. Now, you know, we hear these lines and we laugh at them, but I'll tell you what to do. Start to pay attention to what's going on around you. Not so much in here, but when you're at home or when you're at work, wherever you're going, listen to what people are saying. Stand back objectively and watch what they're doing. They would never say what they're saying if they were thinking. And they would never do what they're doing if they were thinking, if they really understood what was going on. But they don't understand what's going on, and they don't think. They just parrot-like keep repeating stuff that they've heard. Now, why do they do that? That's the paradigm. That's the program in the subjective mind that's controlling them. Now, how did this happen? Now, let's close this window and look over here. There's the way the baby enters the picture. Baby's subconscious mind is wide open. No ability to reject. Whatever's going on around the baby goes right into their subconscious mind. Now think of this for a moment. That baby is going to learn whatever language is spoken around it. The baby's going to get to like the food that the people around the baby eat. They're going to think the way the people around them think. I never went to school. I've mentioned that a couple of times. No one in our family had ever gone to school. When we got to a certain point, they say, are you going? No, hell, I'm out of here. All I did was change the question and change the whole breed. I didn't ask them if they were going to go. I asked them where they were going to go. Different question. Changes lives. You see, whatever's going on around the baby keeps going in. And they think, well, the baby doesn't know. The baby doesn't have to know. The baby's subconscious mind will accept all the thoughts and the things that are going on around it. And it just goes on over and over and over again. And that is how that baby subconscious mind is programmed. That's how the baby develops the self-image. There's people alive today with the self-image, and that's where it was originated, right there, when they were just little kids. All kinds of false ideas. What you thought of the baby or what you thought of the person had lot to do with what they were doing. Had nothing to do with the truth of who they were or what they were capable of. Just absolutely ridiculous ideas planted in their mind. The kid doesn't know any different. Now, this is where we talked earlier. In the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. How do you become enslaved by it? Well, it becomes the paradigm. The paradigm is the program that controls what we do. It's got nothing to do with what we're thinking. It's got nothing to do with the truth. It has to do with the ideas that have been fixed in the subconscious mind. Those ideas control the behavior. See, you will find people that are absolutely brilliant, and they lose at everything. You'll find others that aren't very bright at all, and they just one win after another. How does that happen? It has to do with the paradigm. You can find a person that's not very smart, but has got a great paradigm. You'll find another one who's absolutely brilliant and got a bad paradigm. It's what's going on inside. It's not what we know, it's what's going on in here. And here we are, years later, operating the same way. This you can't understand this enough. I mean, it's just so strong. And you start watching the way people behave. You start to understand what their home life was like when they were kids. Now, they go to school and gather all kinds of valuable knowledge. However, they learn virtually nothing about the paradigm. So we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. It's not that they have to learn how to do it. They already know how to do it. They're not doing it. What they have to learn is why they're not doing it. Superior knowledge, inferior results, causes confusion and frustration. So let's add the model to it now and see how this works. Look at this real carefully. Here's a person with all this knowledge, but it doesn't resonate with the results they're getting. They're smart as hell. They've passed all kinds of exams, but the results would indicate they don't know anything. Why? Well, it's the paradigm that controls the behavior, which produces the results. It's not the knowledge that they've got. Now, if you want to change your results, there's only one way to change the results. You've got to pour the coals on the fire here. You've got to get a new paradigm. And you see, that's what I had done, but I didn't know what I had done. I kept listening to the same thing over and over and over, listening to the same records, reading the same book over and over and over. I was planting new ideas in my mind. I became so fascinated with this. It was so far removed from the life that I knew.
Okay. As always, I'm going to say, watch this over and over again. All of the information that is provided with these videos and Proctor Gallagher has is just so good. And this is specifically an amazing lesson because he's really diving deep into our mind, how it was formed, so we get an understanding of where our paradigm came from. Our parents did the best job that they could with the information and knowledge and awareness that they had. It's our job, if we don't like that paradigm, to fix it. Like, what did Bob say that Leland used to say to him? You're the only problem and the only solution. We can blame other people. It doesn't do any good. It's not going to change anything. Sure, it may feel good. And right now, people are all about blaming everybody else, blaming everything that's going on, blaming somebody else instead of looking at themselves and going, you know what? How can I change it? What can I do to make this better for myself? When you let someone affect you, that's on you. Like Bob said, this person hurt my feelings. You let that happen. They're your feelings. They're under your control. If we know that the feelings reside in the subconscious mind and we can change those thoughts which cause those feelings, then we can flip it. Now, is it easy? It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It takes practice because we're not used to doing it, and our paradigm doesn't let us do that just on a whim because our paradigm is in the subconscious. So we have to consciously, deliberately practice that to then change it to where it becomes a habit. Bob was talking about the mind and the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and was going into the conscious mind, how we originate our thoughts in the conscious mind, and those thoughts then impressed into the subconscious mind over and over become our habits, our behavior, our paradigm. So he had said that the subconscious, it doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. Well, he may not have said it in those specific words, but the subconscious does not know the difference between reality and fantasy. It will take whatever is impressed upon it and move on that. And to explain that, I always think of when we go to movies, think about how movies can move you. Think about watching a sad movie, something that's moving, really touching. Um, it's not real, even if it's based on something that really happened. We know that they're actors. They're that scene that we are seeing. There's a whole bunch of people that are on the other side of that camera. And those that have worked in movies that know me, I used to work in the movies when I was in my 20s. It's a totally different feel when you're on the set versus when you watch it, because you've got behind that camera, you have upwards of 50 to 75 people that are standing on the other side. You have the director, the cameraman, you've got the camera assistant, you've got the script supervisor that's sitting down in a chair, you've got the first assistant director, you've got the key grips and the gaffers, and all of these people all standing, a lot of them just leaning up against something, watching what's going on. But when we're in the theater, our subconscious takes what's happening as real, and it will cause us to feel a certain way. And they know that music and certain things will cause us to feel a certain way because it affects how we behave. So you can start to cry in the theater. Let's go to a horror movie. You're watching a horror movie, and we know that it's fake. We know it's not real. We know that the knife is not a real knife. It's a prop knife that has safety features on it so it doesn't hurt the person. We know that the actor is probably a stunt person. Yet when the action happens, we will literally jump in our chairs and scream sometimes because that is getting right past the conscious mind into the subconscious mind. And as I said, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality, and it takes it as real, stirs those emotions, creates the vibration in the body, and causes us to act, whether it's to jump or do whatever. That's why in not as much anymore Super Bowl commercials, why people or why companies charge so much for just a short little period of time in a Super Bowl commercial, because the person is in a subjective state that's watching it, and they know they can bypass the conscious mind straight into the subconscious. So these are things that we really want to start to understand. And by watching these segments over and over, the repetition of these ideas will start to then move into the subconscious mind, and then will start to have a positive effect on us. So we want to really revisit this over and over. And like Bob said, with the schooling, we can gather all sorts of information. And that's what a lot of people do. That's what a lot of people that are going to be watching this video will do. They'll go onto YouTube and they'll go through all of the personal development gurus, all of those people, and watch all of these videos over and over. They're just gathering information until they put it into the subconscious and internalize it and actually come up with a goal that they want. Nothing's going to happen. They're just going to gather information. And I've done that for years. I did that in the past for years, just gathered information, gather more information. People get really frustrated with this because they, think that they've got to take one more course. If they're running a business and they're trying to, run it online, they need to take a Facebook ads course. I need to take one more course. But if they're not impressing those ideas into the subconscious mind, nothing's going to change. They're just gathering more information. Companies will spend billions of dollars on training, getting people to know more. And the knowing isn't the problem. It's the doing. We've got to start to do what we already know. We need to bridge that gap between what we know and what we do. And by learning how to change the paradigm is how we do that. And that's what we're getting into in this series. That's what Bob is talking about. And we'll go into more as we go. But it's really about changing the paradigm. That's what Proctor Gallagher focuses on, and the products and the coaching programs that we do focus on is getting people to change that paradigm and start doing what they already know. So that's it for today. We're going to leave you with that. Watch this over again. Share it with somebody that needs to hear this message. You may have somebody that maybe is constantly blaming circumstances and conditions on them, on their life, and why everything around them is just not good. Share this video so they get an understanding of the mind. Subscribe to my channels, Facebook, follow me at my page, or go to my group and ask to be a part of the private group that I have. Go to YouTube, subscribe, wherever you're at, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Follow me. I'm going to be coming out with more information, more and more. Like we said, we're on, what do we got here? What did I say this was? 26. Day 26. We're going 100 days in a row, so we still got a long way to go. So I'm going to be getting more information. I will also be doing a lot more whiteboarding as we go. So all of this stuff is foundational things that later on, when I am bringing up certain things, it's going to make more sense and it's going to sink in. We're going to tell you the same information, just 50, 60, 100 different ways that it starts to sink into the subconscious mind. So once again, I will be back again tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this. If you found value, share it. And you guys have a wonderful day. This is Ed Reiner with your daily dose of mind stuff. Peace. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.